listen, we all wanted these vaccines to end the pandemic. They didn't. They were not as effective and certainly not as safe as we all hoped and prayed. They don't prevent infection. They don't prevent transmission. But nobody will admit they were wrong.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the latest subvariant of C19 called XBB 1.5. If you are vaxxed, you are more likely to catch this. And this is also the most dominant strain right now in the US, if not the entire world. Now, I was told at the very beginning of this process that if you got the vax, you would not catch the bug. I heard Joe Biden say it. I heard Anthony Fauci say it. I heard a lot of politicos say it. I heard some of these fake TV doctors say it. They all said the same thing. A lot of your media types on CNN, MS13, DNC, etc. They all said if you got the vax, you would not catch the bug. Then they said, well, you need to get the vax because if you don't, you want to kill your grandmama. You don't care about society. I just heard the other day, I did a video about it right here on the channel. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the fake scientist who's really an astrophysicist, he said that you got to get it because it's not about you. It's about your next door neighbor, all this, that, and the third. But now we have evidence where they say if you are vaxxed, you are more likely to catch XBB 1.5. Now, and to get a little bit of background before we get to an article and another video, you have a lot going on. There's a lot of variants of this thing. And at a certain point, I'm not sure if we're dealing with variants, different types of C19, or different bugs altogether. But again, different story, I digress. You have C19, right? Then you have below that Omicron. Remember the Omicron? I think it was a bunch of stuff before that. I think they skipped the G version, the XI. But anyway, C19, Omicron, and then under Omicron, you have XBB 1.5. Now, where did that naming system come from? I couldn't tell you. They probably just made it up out of the clear blue sky. Just like COVID-19 stands for Coronavirus Disease 2019. Although it really started to hit in 2020. But in 2019, I knew some guys that were getting sick of a mysterious disease. But again, different story. I digress. The point is, if you are vaccinated, you are more likely to catch this. After they told you if you get vaccinated, this would not happen. Okay, now let's get into our article. Then we're going to get into a video. And of course, if you want to read this article and see the videos that I've played here, links will be in the description. If you're on IG, please go to the link in the bio, go to my website and go to the corresponding article. But you see what the headline says here. XBB 1.5 more likely to infect the vaccinated or those who have had the bug. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't think I've ever had the bug. I mean, I've not been vaxxed. Pure blood. Shout out to all the pure bloods. If you're not pure blood, if you had to get vaxxed for whatever the reason, I'm not judging you because some people, I mean, you got to be able to eat. You got kids, you got a wife, you got yourself. You want to be out there homeless with nothing to eat, New York City, wherever you are. So I understand why you had to do that. To those who are vaxxed and regret it, hey, I'm not judging you. But this is just the reality of what's going on. So to those who stood on the principle, who may have gotten fired from their job, who may have lost friends, family, etc., due to this particular stance you've taken, you are now vindicated, as are all of us. But I digress. Let's continue. You see what this subhead here says. Omicron subvariant XBB 1.5 is currently the dominant strain in many places. I believe the U.S. and other countries. Let's read the rest of this. Omicron's latest subvariant in the news is XBB 1.5. This is a superior form of the recombinant XBB, which is dominant in transmission rate, or in other words, spreadability. So, like I said, this is the more dominant one. There's other ones out there, but this is more dominant because it spreads easier. And again, you were told to get the vax because why? It would not spread. It'd stop transmission. But just like CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said, and I'll place that video in the box, the vax can no longer prevent transmission, which means it can't prevent you from spreading it or catching it. All that they claim it does is give you a better chance of dealing with your symptoms. And I'm not quite sure that claim can be said anymore, although it was kind of a sketchy claim when they said it, but let's continue. The subvariant was first detected in the U.S. in October last year, and is said to be the most transmissible variant of the coronavirus. Quote, XBB 1.5 may be more likely to infect people who have been vaccinated or already had C19. Omicron subvariant XBB 1.5 now accounts for 73% of all sequenced COVID-19 cases in New York City. XBB 1.5 is the most transmissible form of COVID-19 that we know of to date and may be more likely to infect people who have been vaccinated or already had C19. Now, let's pause for a minute. It just said New York City. This is 73% of all C19 cases. So 3 out of every 4 C19 cases in New York City are XBB 1.5. And they said if you're vaxxed, you're more likely to get it. But just recently, they just repealed the last of the vaccine mandates. Okay, you want to work for the city of New York, got to get vaccinated. You want to be a private employer or employee, New York City, you got to get vaccinated. Shout out to my main man, Kyrie Irving, who lost millions of dollars by refusing to get vaccinated, therefore not being able to play for the Brooklyn Nets basketball team. Oh, and then people like, what was that? Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal. You owe Kyrie Irving an apology. Wanting to call him a moron and you're dumb and you're selfish. Get out there and play for your team. Well, what's the purpose of him getting vaxxed when the very bug that is sweeping New York City right now, where he works and lives and plays, why would the vax help him when the vax makes you more likely to get this and you can't even stop the spread? You're more likely to get it and spread it if you're vaxxed. So he is more safe than his vaccinated teammates. So what are we talking about here, Chuck and Shaq? You owe Kyrie Irving a public on-air apology. But I digress. I don't want to get too triggered right now, so I'll move on. Let's see. Where did I leave off here? So more likely to affect people, in a tweet by the official account of, the Department of Health in New York City, it urges citizens to get vaccinated. So after all this, it says still get vaccinated. Let's see what they say. Quote, getting vaccinated and getting the updated booster is still the best way to protect yourself from hospitalization and death from COVID-19, including from these new variants. So we just read information that says you are more likely to catch this if you get vaccinated, but still get vaccinated because, you're more likely to catch it and you might go to the hospital potentially, but it's going to stop the chances of that happening. I don't know about y'all, but I don't think so. I think not. Like, why would I? Okay, here's maybe it might be a bad example, good example. If I have 2 cars to drive, right? One has a slight chance of getting in an accident because of mechanical problems, bad wheels, axles, tires, whatever. The other one has a higher chance of getting into an accident because of mechanical problems. But the one with the higher chance of getting into an accident, maybe by like 75% higher chance of getting into an accident, that one has a roll cage in it. So if you crash, it might not necessarily be as bad, but the roll cage might fail and you might die anyway. Or when I get into the car that has a lower chance of getting into an accident and just drive cautiously, I think I have a better chance of surviving in the car that has slight mechanical problems rather than the one that has debilitating mechanical problems that will crash and it might burn. I mean, is that common sense to you guys, or is it just me? Whatever you think about that, y'all let me know in the comments. Let's continue here. The report available on the official website of the NYC Health Department, I guess, gives a clear picture of the statement. The website report reads, quote, it may be more likely to infect people who have been vaccinated or previously had C19 compared to prior variants. Can I read that one more time? It may be more likely to infect people who have been vaccinated or previously had C19 compared to prior variants. Okay, so I'm just saying that's probably speaking about the bug itself. So you're more likely to be a person that transmits it, meaning catching and spreading, if you're vaccinated versus not being vaccinated. You have a lower chance of catching and spreading. So why do they say get vaxxed? Because it's a better chance of avoiding the hospital. So dumb. But let's continue and close the article out. Quote, we do not know yet whether XBB 1.5 may cause more severe disease. Oh, we don't know yet. Of course not. Getting the C19 vaccine, including the updated booster, is still the best way to protect yourself from hospitalization and death, including from these new variants. Okay, we already read that part, but let me come back so you can see me clearly. Let me come right back on screen so you can see me clearly. This is ridiculous, but to those of us that have been kind of following this from the beginning, we're not surprised at all. You guys can't be surprised here. Why would you be surprised? You know what's going on with this whole situation. You already know what's happening. We knew from the beginning that the vax was untested. They did trials and whatnot, but what can you really account for as far as a trial? You can't account for any new strains. You can't account for long-term effects. You can't account for any kind of unforeseen side effects when you're talking about the new strains and different people and different environments and everything else. Other bugs that may come about that may interact with the vaccine in a certain kind of way. You have no way of being able to test that. The only way to test that truly, as I close, is with time, like 50 years, 75 years, 100 years, not 9 months. So from the beginning, I don't care if it was Trump, Jesus Christ himself coming down from heavens above and saying, hey, take that. I'd be like, oh no, boss, we've not really seen that in action yet. Maybe that's just me, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on here with the XBB variant being more likely to infect someone who has been vaccinated? Although that is the absolute opposite of what we've been told over the past few years at this point. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I'm not surprised. I am not in any kind of way flabbergasted. I saw this whole thing coming. Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.